Let's start with the biggest news story of the year, which was that 2023 was the warmest year on record.
Climate change is a real and serious issue. But isn't the climate always changing? What exactly is climate change and why should we care?
Past few weeks, we've been reporting extensively on the heat waves that have hit large areas of Europe, the United States, and parts of Asia. Well, now, leading scientists have told the BBC they're concerned by the recent run of new climate records being set, saying the speed and timing of them is unprecedented.
The dramatic impact of climate change.
A new study shows that the massive ice sheets at the top and bottom of our planet are shrinking much faster than previously thought.
Well, what is climate change? It's been a hot topic in the news in the recent years, but do people know what it actually means? According to the UN, climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and in weather patterns. And it can occur naturally due to events such as volcanic eruptions and in variation in solar radiation. But in the recent years, it has mostly been caused by human activities. And as the years go on and we burn more fossil fuels, it gets worse and worse.
Climate change has occurred ever since the creation of Earth due to natural causes such as the Earth's orbit, solar energy, and volcanoes. However, the warming nowadays is seen at a rate that has not been seen in the past 10,000 years. This is due to human activities such as burning fossil fuels and releasing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases have such a negative effect on our planet because they trap heat into the atmosphere. Climate change was first discovered in 1938, but wasn't necessarily taken seriously until around the 70s, and finally until 1985 when scientists discovered a hole in the ozone layer. Even after all of that, climate change legislation didn't come into play until 1994, with 197 countries signing the UNFCCC treaty designed to limit greenhouse gas emissions. Ever since then, there have been many people working hard to limit greenhouse gas emissions, with new inventions such as the electric car and solar panels, and popularizing these inventions.
There's no easy way to look around and realize that the world as we know it is dying. People really don't want to deal with confronting the possibility that when they look out the window, everything they're looking at is temporary. The question is not, is this happening? What if it happens? The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because there is something after just anxiety.
In recent times, an effect of climate change everyone has probably noticed is the rising temperatures. 2023 was the hottest year on record since the creation of Earth. This has been noticed by many with people saying that this summer seems hotter than the last. July 2023 specifically had record-breaking heat waves all over the world. What's interesting about these heat waves is that the World Weather Attribution Group found these record-breaking heat waves in the US and Europe would have been virtually impossible without climate change.
Today will be the 25th straight day of temperatures hitting at least 110 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona.
In Arizona, a record-setting and deadly summer heat wave saw temperatures hit 110 degrees on more than 50 days. Recent reports say 202 deaths have been attributed to those sweltering conditions.
How can we really tease out the distinctions between summer weather and climate change? It is always hotter in the summer than it is in the winter, correct? But certain summers are hotter than others. And what we're talking about right now is record after record after record after record. So you have to look at the pattern. It's not just one individual event in one season. We are looking at southern parts of Europe, a lot of North America and Mexico, China, all at the same times, right? So that's a lot of the globe spiking records like we've never experienced before.
Have you personally noticed the effects of climate change has on the environment recently?
Yes, because in the news they talked a lot about how, we've had like record-breaking like temperatures in like different countries, especially in Europe. You hear about that a lot, and you can see how that plays like a large impact on people because especially like homeless people where they don't have access to like shelter and whatnot, like they're just exposed to the elements, and hearing about that is like really sad.
Have you personally noticed the effects on climate change that has on the weather/environment? For example, this year we had a record-breaking heat during the summer, so would you...
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that, especially during the summer. I remember like summers as a kid wouldn't be as hot, especially compared to this summer. And also when it comes to winters recently as well, I've noticed it's been like far more colder than it usually would be. And the transition between summer and winter definitely was a long time compared to how quick it used to be as well. Yeah.
The effects of climate change don't just stop at warm temperatures though. Climate change is causing death to many. A major example of organisms dying due to climate change is coral bleaching.
Might look like paradise from above, but beneath the turquoise waves of the Coral Sea, picturesque views turn to the barren expanse of a struggling ecosystem.
Coral bleaching is when animal polyps on coral reject the tiny plants that feed them on coral. This causes the coral to look bleached with a light white or beige color and eventually causes the coral to die. According to The Guardian, it states that coral bleaching has affected more than 91% of the entire Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It's been recorded that major bleaching events like this are becoming more and more frequent due to climate change causing ocean temperatures to reach record highs. Another tragedy due to climate change is the deadly wildfires in Maui, Hawaii that occurred in August 2023. It was classified as the deadliest U.S. wildfire in the past 100 years, and it killed almost 100 people. Hawaiian Governor Josh Green links these wildfires to climate change.
We've been experiencing wildfires for decades here. We've all actually been through wildfires. This is the first time we've ever experienced a wildfire in the context of these dry conditions, global warming, and with a hurricane that's just passing us. The consequence of global warming and storm change is changing things. But we've never had anything like this near a city. We do all that we can to fund our departments, city, state level.
As you can see from all these effects of climate change is definitely something that we all should be worried about and working against. So, what is the US government doing about climate change? Well, it isn't really clear. The government seems to be very back and forth on the issue. In January of 2021, President Joe Biden issued Executive Orders 13990 and 14008. Both of which are about tackling climate change and making efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and protect the environment. These executive orders are a step forward in the fight against climate change, but is the government's actions reflecting these worries about climate change? In the light of Biden approving the Willow Project in Alaska in March 2023, it seems not. The Willow Project is a large oil drilling project in Alaska that is expected to produce around 600 million barrels of oil, and it is a very controversial project due to the fact that it is expected to release 9.2 million metric tons of carbon pollution a year. Senior attorney Jeremy Lee points out the hypocrisy in Biden's decisions and says, "This is a huge climate threat and inconsistent with the administration's promise to take on the climate crisis."
On the one hand, he's just imposed limits on oil and gas drilling on about 60 million acres of Alaska, and on the other hand, he's just given the green light to one of the biggest oil projects in the country in decades.
It seems the hypocrisy in these decisions is influenced by how divided representatives in the government are on this issue. With the Willow Project, Alaskan lawmakers who supported the project met with Joe Biden to convince him to approve the project, due to the positive effects the project will have on the local economy. Furthermore, in 2021, Center for American Progress concluded that there were 139 elected officials in the 117th Congress that denied or ignored evidence supporting the urgency of climate change. These same 139 people have also received more than $61 million from the oil, gas, and the coal industries. Many representatives seem to succumb to their own greed and choose money over the well-being of our planet. While the economy is definitely an important aspect of life, it can't be more important than life itself and the life on this planet. If we keep letting people put money before life, there'll be disastrous consequences that we won't be able to reverse. We must remind them that our planet is more important than their own wealth. Even though federal efforts against climate change seems divided, what about local efforts? Well, Governor Roy Cooper definitely does take climate change seriously.
So I'm going to tell Congress that we need federal action. We need to get them to work with the president to make some changes in what is happening at the federal level. This ignoring of climate change is going to be catastrophic for our country. Certainly North Carolina is feeling the effects right now, and we've got to do something about it.
Along with this, in 2018 and 2022, Governor Cooper signed Executive Order 80 and Executive Order 246. Both of these orders call for an action against climate change to improve the health and the well-being of NC residents, as well as the protecting of the environment. Overall in America, Pew Research Center has found that 2/3 of adults believe that the government is doing too little to address the issues of the climate crisis, and locally, we have found people who have similar views as well. 54% of the people who responded to our poll said that climate change is a very urgent and pressing issue.
I think that climate change on a scale of 1 to 5 would be a 5. Just because, it is already such a prevalent issue, yet people still don't take it as seriously.
So, going on from that, what can we do to help fight climate change? While it may seem hopeless to fight climate change when major oil, gas, and coal companies bribe our government to sweep the issue under the rug, there is still hope. Many Americans believe that climate change is an issue, and the ones who don't are just a loud minority. For example, with the Willow Project, while Biden did approve of it, many Americans didn't and started petitions to show their disapproval of this project. This could help with shutting down future oil drilling projects, so something as simple as signing a petition can make a big difference. And we've been able to come together to work against climate change in the past. A major example of this is repairing the hole in the ozone layer. In 1985, scientists confirmed that there was a hole in the ozone layer, and after that, government almost immediately adopted the Vienna Convention for Protection of the Ozone Layer and banned ozone-depleting chemical CFC. The results of the world coming together on this issue has been dramatic, with the ozone layer being replenished and the Arctic ozone hole expected to close by 2060. This, along with other agreements such as the Paris Treaty Agreement, the invention of biodegradable plastic and eco-friendly bags, and the push to change our energy source from gas to electricity and solar power, all makes a difference. All of these efforts may seem like little changes in our lives, such as the small inconvenience of bringing a reusable bag while grocery shopping, but they have a big impact on our world. Never forget the little steps you make can make a big difference for your world.